Did anyone order the short stack? There you go. World's best French toast, guys. What do you think? Hey everyone, I'm Dave, and today we're making the world's best French toast. French toast is a staple. It's one of the best breakfasts in my opinion. We're gonna try to cook it, and we're gonna try to make it amazing. I'm not a professional cook, but cook along with me and we'll see how it goes. Okay, first let's start off like we always do and look up the world's best French toast recipe on the old computadora. I think that's Spanish, I don't know. And it looks like our top result is from addapinch.com. 5-star recipe with 153 5-star reviews. That's really good in my opinion, so I'm excited. And the pictures look awesome. So we're gonna scroll down to where it actually tells us how to cook it, because you know, all that other nonsense doesn't matter to me. It's all just for SEO, which is why they're the top result, because of all that other nonsense. But we can get into that in the marketing class that we're never gonna do. As far as ingredients go, we're gonna need butter. Probably to, you know, butter the skillet and things like that. We're gonna need some eggs, 2 large eggs. We're gonna use some sugar, some milk, some bread. Yeah, it's a good idea. Bread is kind of required for French toast. Salt, cinnamon, and vanilla. Simple. Simple recipe, not very expensive. It's an affordable recipe. It's quick. It says it only takes 10 minutes to cook. Nice, easy one for you. So as we go look at the recipe, it says we need to whisk together the eggs, the milk, the salt, the sugar, the vanilla, and the cinnamon in a flat-bottomed pie plate. Really, a flat-bottomed pie plate? That's interesting. Huh, let me see if I have one of those. Okay, this is a little weird, but I didn't read this recipe before starting, but here's a flat-bottomed pie plate. Maybe I'll rinse it. Okay, so we've got our little pie plate and we got a little whisk. And so we're gonna try this. It's kind of weird. Normally I would do something like this in a bowl, but we're gonna follow the recipe and see how it goes. So here's 2 eggs. Let's start off by breaking those into here. I'm gonna bring an extra bowl just to catch the shells that I'm not gonna wanna eat. The shells are not delicious. Oops, and look at all the shells I got in there. I told you I'm not a professional cook, guys, but it's okay, you can take them out. I'm the complete opposite from a professional cook. Someone actually commented on a video I did and said that they love my cooking videos, but they went to culinary school, and sometimes the things I do shock them because of how non-professional I am. That's a fairly weird looking egg. It always reminds me of the time when growing up we had chickens. We had like a whole farm full of chickens, and there was, you know, it was my responsibility to go get the eggs every morning, but if you've ever had chickens and gone and got the eggs, sometimes you like don't find them because the chickens kind of hide them a little bit. There, we whisked together the eggs. The chickens kind of hide them a little bit, so, and I was a kid, I wasn't very thorough, so I went and I got the chicken eggs and I missed one. And I ended up bringing it, I must have found it the next, maybe 5 days later. I didn't find it like the next day. It took a while for me to find it. And when I did finally find it, I didn't actually know it was an old egg. We need to add a cup of milk now to this mixture. I didn't actually know it was an old egg. I thought it was like a new egg. So I brought it in, it went in the fridge or on the counter, wherever we used to put them. So that was a cup of milk. So I'm gonna stir that in with the egg mixture. And I remember when my mom or I can't remember who did it, one of us went to go and crack the egg open and cook an omelet, and there was like a baby chicken in there. So that's the disturbing story of the day. So just make sure, you know, whenever you crack your eggs to be on the lookout for baby chickens. And yeah, it was really gross. I know that's a delicacy in some places. It says to add a pinch of salt, so that's exactly what I'm doing, adding a pinch of salt. Add a little more. We have to add some sugar. This is my sugar here. And we're gonna add, I think, a tablespoon. It's interesting, the recipe says you can use sugar or honey or granulated sugar is sugar. Granulated sugar, honey, or maple syrup. We're just gonna use sugar because that's the first one on there, and it's kind of, I don't know, which one am I supposed to use? I'm gonna use the first one because I think it makes sense. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I know you're still thinking about the little baby chicken. I did not eat it, obviously. It was not alive though, to be honest. We added 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. You could use the, imitation as well. Tastes pretty much the same, in my opinion. Look at all the crazy stuff it's doing. It kind of looks like a science experiment. Kind of moving around, so we're gonna mix that up. I don't know about this pie plate idea. I've never done it this way. It seems kind of less convenient because it's so shallow, and I feel like I'm gonna spill it. I'm not very good at being careful, so. But yeah, no beaks in this one, guys, no beaks. Stir that up. And then we need a teaspoon of cinnamon. Every time I think of cinnamon now, I think of that song by Lizzo. Cinnamon it. She doesn't say cinnamon, but that's what I think of. Okay, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And what else? That's, I think, everything that goes in there. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna mix that up, nice and good. And this is gonna be like the core part of our French toast here. What we're gonna need to do next is get like a pan or a skillet or something to cook it on. I have like a, one of those big, I'll show you, I'll get it. Picture speaks 1,000 words. Let me clean up my mess, I'll be right back. I just spilt my my mix here as I was getting, is it a batter? My mix as I was getting out this skillet thingy. What is this called? A cooktop? I don't know. But it's really nice when you're cooking French toast or pancakes. Super easy to clean up and stuff. All right, so this is my little fancy skillet thingy, and I put the temperature, what does this say to do here? It says melt butter in a large skillet or on a griddle. Oh, this is a griddle. Okay, so I have a griddle, which is nice, but if not, you just use a big skillet and do it on the stovetop. Medium heat, golden brown. I'm gonna put it at 375 degrees. On the oven, I just do medium. Maybe I'll do a little below 375. Let it warm up. I will say, like, let's look at the consistency of this. It seems like a lot of the cinnamon is floating at the top, so I'm concerned that the later slices of French toast aren't gonna be as cinnamony, but maybe they will be. I'm trying to keep stirring it. I think normally I would do this in a bowl, and in that bowl, I would be able to stir it a little better. It's really hard in this little pie plate, but it'll do, that'll do. So as far as all this goes, the next step is to take our bread, and we're gonna dip the bread in there and then put it on here. I guess I could use tongs, that would probably be wise. I am supposed to take some butter. I'm gonna turn it down to like 350. I already feel like it's too hot. And one way I've actually tested to see if it's too hot is if the butter like instantly turns brown, then it's probably too hot. So I'm just buttering this whole top here. I mean, maybe it's too much butter, I don't know. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there's a nice buttery top, and what we would basically do, now you could use tongs or your hands. I'm kind of torn. These should work. I wanted some like tongs that would be more gentle. And you just take it and you dip it into this, push it down a little, flip it over, and then it goes from here straight to on here. Look at that, guys. We're learning. I feel like I'm a teacher today because I've cooked French toast before. Not this recipe, but many recipes. I've tried a bunch. It's kind of hard to go wrong with French toast, right? It's a win-win. See, look, I'm actually right though. Look at all the cinnamon on that one versus that one. And so basically we're just repeating the process, and we're gonna find out if this is the best French toast in the world. I've had some fancy French toast at like restaurants and stuff where it's super thick bread, and I don't know, a lot of times it's not very good. Oops, I guess we're gonna cook this one sideways. What do you think like the key is to actually getting the cinnamon a little bit more even here? Because I'm not really that pleased with the evenness of the cinnamon, but I'd be curious what you guys think. I mean, there's cinnamon around the edges of this pie plate too, which again, I don't know. It's fine. I'm sure it'll be good. As far as yield is like how many you get. It doesn't look like this is a huge amount, but you could just double or redo that, like moist, words are hard today. Redo the wet mixture and just make another batch, right? We're making one batch, but you could technically make a second batch just by refilling all this. But look, I'm basically on empty here with this mix. So 2 eggs, you know, still makes a lot of French toast for just 2 eggs. That's why it's a nice, cheap, affordable recipe. Can I fit it here? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna let this cook for a minute, and then we're gonna flip it over. I gotta get a, what's that called, the spatula. I don't know, this spatula is kind of pathetic, right? A little too small. It'll probably work. I've got a bigger one, but it's like too big. I'm just gonna peek under this and see how it's looking. You kind of want it to get nice and brown. One thing that I've run into with French toast, and I'll see if there's any hints on the recipe for this, is every now and then I'll get it so like the bottom and the top are crispy, but the inside's kind of juicy, like not cooked through. So I think that happens if your heat's too high. Oh, you know what? While we wait for this to cook, I will pull out the maple syrup, which I actually don't usually eat, but I know a lot of people do like it. Let's look at the ingredients. The ingredients are organic pure maple syrup. Yeah. TikTok, I was watching TikTok and they said sometimes they put like high fructose corn syrup in syrup, which is already so sweet, you don't really need that. But I don't know, I'm not that health conscious, but that was interesting. I'm gonna try flipping one over. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty brown and good, don't you think? So let's flip them all over. The one thing I have that's like an issue with this skillet is it doesn't always cook super even, but it does the job. It gets the job done. Is this really the world's best French toast? Probably not, but I'm sure it'll be delicious. We'll give it a ranking at the end and we'll see what I think. Like I said, I've had some real expensive French toast and real cheap French toast and everything in between. So I wouldn't say I'm a total expert on the topic, but I know what's up. Now, I will say, something my mom used to do when she made French toast for me is like at this stage, she would take pads of butter and put it on top of each of them so they'd start to melt. I could do that. That would be good. Make it nice and buttery and delicious. Maybe I will do that. Let me get a knife. But we do want to make sure it cooks all the way through too. And we need a plate to put them on when they're done. So we're almost done with this. This is the quickest recipe ever. It still kind of seems like it needs a little longer. I guess I could have put my temp a little higher. Maybe 375 would have been the right choice because this is still taking a minute to cook. It smells amazing though. That cinnamon, whew, mwah. Wait, is that a thing people do when something's good? They like kiss their fingers? I don't know. I'm not a chef. I'm just a guy. All right, so let's put our pads of butter on there to be fancy. And, you know, we just, presentation, right? We eat with our eyes first. Isn't that what all the fancy chefs always say? Although I'll tell you, a lot of those really fancy restaurants, like the Michelin restaurants, food does not look like even edible to me. So it certainly is not making me excited about whatever dish they're bringing me. That's kind of a big piece of butter. Be nice and buttery. There we go. How's that look? Pretty good? World's best? Seems like the world's best. All right, so we're gonna call this done. Maybe I'll spread the butter around a little so it's even, and then we'll take it off, we'll put it on the plate, and then we will try it and see if it's the world's best. Now, I could also flip it back over and do this side once more, but I don't think it's really necessary. It feels pretty good, pretty crispy. All right, let's take a look at that other side here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Does it look like the world's best French toast? I'm flipping it upside down, because I figure that way the butter gets, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm just being fancy. Did anyone order the short stack? There you go, world's best French toast, guys. What do you think? Look pretty good? All right, so since I always eat my French toast just plain, just with butter, I think that's the way for me to try it. So sometimes I'll put powdered sugar on it. I guess I could do that too. Let's see if it's actually cooked through. I'm nervous. Nervous. I don't know, guys. It doesn't look that great. Let's try it. Yeah, I'm not super happy with the consistency. I feel like it needs more time. Not bad though, but I think we need to put it back on for like 2 more minutes. This honestly won't really negatively affect it at all. We're just putting it back on to get it a little bit, okay, well I guess it will if it falls apart. Maybe I'll use my hands this time. I just want it to be a little bit more crispy. It's a little bit kind of loose inside. And mind you, it's already cooked, obviously, because it's a cooked piece of bread, and the egg should be pretty thoroughly cooked as well. But for me, it's more of a texture thing than anything else. Here, Molly. My dog caught that in her mouth. For me, it's more of a texture thing, right? I like just to have it more. Listen, I'm not a professional cook. This is how it goes when I cook for my family. Sometimes I have to put things back on, I have to try again. And I think that's, you know, what makes it relatable, honestly, because how many of us are really professional cooks? There's plenty of shows where people get it perfect every time, only show the perfect. I like to show the fails too. To me, this is a little bit too, like, I don't know, let me show you. It's like, it's a little soggy. Soggy is the best way I could describe it. I guess I cook this piece again too. It's a little soggy in my opinion, so I want to cook it for a little bit longer. Oh, so we should talk while we're doing this. Was it the world's best? Like the flavor and stuff, was that the world's best? Here we go, let's flip it actually, because it's getting a little bit crispy here. Was it the best flavor of French toast in the world? I'll be honest, I kind of didn't even pay attention to the flavor because I was distracted because I really thought it was a little bit too, the texture was throwing me off. So I didn't really get to, I feel like I didn't get to experience it, which means we'll, you know, pay closer attention in a second. All right, so this French toast is definitely looking more crispy, more better-er. I'm excited about it. You see, it's got better structural integrity. It's not falling apart when I lift it. So I don't know, I'd say that's something to be careful of. I guess normally if I was cooking this at home for my family, I would have cut one in half just to see what it looked like inside instead of pulling them all off and then doing it. So that's the one difference. I mean, this looks like a horror movie at this point. This dead one. But you know what? I bet it's gonna taste good. Yeah, this looks a lot more sturdy now, right? That one looks like could use a little more time. Is there like a feel? What do you guys do? How do you know when your French toast is done? You know, a lot of people do put powdered sugar on it. That's always good. But I don't have any, so I'm not gonna put any on it. I mean, you don't want dry French toast either. So let's take a look at this one I tried a bite of before and see if the consistency and texture is somewhere I like better. Still not perfect for me. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Actually, does it give me any guidance in the recipe? It just says heat until golden brown on each side, so they are definitely golden brown on each side. Might be done. All right, I'm pulling it off again. I think it's good. I think, therefore I am. All right, let me get this out of the way. All right, try number 2. We're gonna try this, see if it really is now the world's best French toast, although I'm not really feeling confident. Oh, it's so hot. It's much hotter now. Oh. All right, let's put a little bit more butter on it. I really like it buttery, guys. It's not healthy, I know. And then maybe I'll try it with some syrup too, even though that's something I never really do like. Maybe I'll like it now that I'm older. Yeah, it's definitely better. Let's try a little syrup. Just the right thing to do if you're reviewing a French toast, to try it with syrup. That's too big of a bite, Dave. And it's super hot, you're gonna burn yourself. pretty good. I mean, I like it. It's lunch. It's lunchtime for me. No complaints. That last bite was hot. Okay, world's best French toast? No, I think I've had better French toast. You know, I think a lot of that comes down to the quality of the bread, more so than the recipe. So you gotta take that into consideration. If you were to use some like really nice, thick, hearty, super fresh bread, it would probably be better than just Sara Lee. Is that what I had? Sara Lee Classic White. So I'd recommend, you know, spending a little bit more on better bread. And I think the better bread, thicker bread would have less of the issue with the kind of being soggy in the middle too. But it's good. I think it's like a 7 out of 10. Kind of middle of the road, but a little bit better than middle of the road. I've had a lot of worse French toast at IHOP and places like that. So I think it's better than fast casual. Maybe not as good as like super high-end fancy restaurant. All right, thank you guys for watching. This was a short one. Make sure that you comment below on what you would do different if you wanted to try and make this recipe. And we'll see you next time on World's Best Recipes. World's Best Recipes? Anyways, bye-bye.